Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Closer to Compassion podcast. I'm your host, Maria. And as I mentioned on the previous episode, I want to start the series focusing more on my faith. So let's just say like Christian confessions. And today is something that I wanted to talk for a while. And something that I do in order to understand God better. Is God and how he expresses his fatherhood. Whenever I found difficulties in understanding God, understanding the situation, and how those reflect to God, is thinking of him as a loving parent or a loving father. And I want to give examples by like breaking down how I believe that he expresses his fatherhood. Because I do get a lot of questions, and I find that this is the best way to do it. Because I'm not an expert. I've listened to the Bible and I educated myself, but I'm not a scholar, okay? And I also want to get information, but analyze them and understand them. I don't take anything for granted, even if it's from the Bible. So I think there's different interpretations of things, and I like to have my own opinion as well. So this is, again, I want to disclose my opinion, but it has helped me understanding God better. So let's start with a father. How I believe that he expresses his fatherhood. And I'll start with something that I had no idea what it was in the past. Like a lot of people said, oh, you have to have like an intimate relationship with him, which I didn't understand because I couldn't understand the concept of God not being separate from us. I thought that we are here and God is in heaven and there's a big gap. But what Christianity taught me that we are not disconnected. That is the main point of like being a Christian. It's not going to church. It's not singing religious song. It's actually creating an intimate and close relationship with him. And what does that relationship require? Any kind of relationship requires spending time with them. So thinking about them, talking to them, joke with them, cry with them, but communicating with them. So the first way he expresses his fatherhood is that intimate relationship that we are so lucky to have with him. All he wants is to have a relationship with us. He doesn't want to force it to us. And that's why he gives us free will. Because he wants us to choose him, because that is real love. It's the one that you are allowed to choose. You're not forced. The second one is, I think I mentioned it earlier, is communication. And communication is through praying. So praying is very powerful and very, very important. There's like different verses in the Bible. Matthew 6, chapter 6. So he says, when you go to your room, and when you shut the door, pray to your Father, and your Father who sees you in secret will repay you. Another one is Matthew chapter 7, verses 7 to 11. Ask and should be given to you. Seek and you shall find. Knock and it shall be opened. Like everyone who asks receives, who seeks finds, and who knocks it shall be opened. Because I think that he wants us to ask him. He wants us to communicate our needs, even though I believe that he knows our needs even better than we know our needs. And that's why a lot of times, I've said it before, that, you might think that you need this specific job or this specific person, and maybe the door is closed. But that's because you don't know what's better for you. He does. Sometimes you don't even have to explain. He already knows. But you got to communicate. You have to ask for wisdom. You have to ask for strength. A loving parent is always going to be there. Like I can relate that. An example is my mom. My mom lives in Greece, but yet we have a communication. She's still in my life. We're still close, even though we're so many miles away. So distance has nothing to do. It's all about presence and communication. And that's something that we can have through praying. The third way he expresses his fatherhood is through unconditional love. And that's something, for example, my sister gets to ask me a lot of times. She puts me on the spot because she's not a believer. And even though it's hard in the moment, it's really good for me understanding God even better. Why will God help my sister if she's not a believer? Because she's still his creation. She's still his child. And he still loves her regardless. And that's what unconditional love is. He's always going to forgive us for whatever we've done, as long as we seek for his love. And there is an example in the Bible. Again, I'm going to go to my little notes over here. God and Son are one. And Jesus said, you love them the way you love me. But if they are one, that means that he loves us the way he loves himself. And this is the strongest type of love, how you love yourself. because it's unconditional. There's not going to be conditions to love your own self. But if he loves us the way he loves Jesus, but him and Jesus are one, that means that he loves us the way he loves himself. Easy. And the last way he expressed his fatherhood would be he meets all our needs. And something that I mentioned earlier, that most of the times he knows better than us and he will deliver. He will probably put us through situations, hardships, pain, but that's not as punishment, because we have connected like hardships and pain to punishment, but it's not. Discipline, hardships, pain, challenges can lead to something great because it's a learning experience. And I think we have to see all these negative things that we go through and the problems as blessings. And I know it's really hard in the moment because you're like, what the fuck, like this is too much. But I don't think that God would put us through something that we cannot survive. He's going to put us through situations that we can come out stronger, wiser, and more prepared for our purpose, for what he has planned for us. So that's all for today's episode. I am starting getting very passionate about my faith, and I'm excited to share everything that I learned with you guys. If you have any other ideas on how God expressed his fatherhood, please write them down on the comments. Please subscribe and like, and I'm going to see you guys at the next one.